let's start today's lesson. First of all, we will discuss about what are the importance of rearing swine. Swine means pig. Now we are going to learn about how to rear pigs. You all know we obtain pork from pigs. So let's discuss about swine farming. So first, we'll move to the introduction part. That means what are the importance. That means what are the things we are getting from rearing swine. So major one is the pork. Pork means the flesh of the pig, and it is rich with vitamin B, such as B12, B6, thiamine, niacin, and riboflavin. At the same time, it is somewhat cheap when we compare with the beef and mutton in Sri Lanka. Pork is cheaper than that. Apart from pork, we are getting organs. Have you ever heard some research findings are there that swine kidneys and heart can transplant to humans. Swines lage වකුගඩු එහෙම මිනිසුන්ට transplant කරන්න පුළුවන්. So for the organ transplantation also, we are rearing pigs for the biomedical researches. At the same time, enzymes and hormone production, especially in ancient time, the insulin we are taking from the swine. Synthetic insulin was not there in ancient times, so we are taking insulin hormone from swine. So for the hormone production also, we are rearing swine. So those are the importance of rearing swine. And this is about the scientific classification. So he's belong to phylum Chordata, class Mammalia, where the Mammalia means Sheetopine. And Archaeodactyla order, then family Suidae, genus Sus, species Suscrofa. So the subspecies Suscrofa domesticus. That means domesticus means he's domesticated. So these are the common terms that you have to have an idea about when we are learning swine management. You should have an idea about these terms because to understand, to get a better understand regarding the management practices. So essentially, first one is boar. Boar means a male pig who is not castrated. Castrated means we are removing testicle. Castration means removing the testicles. So boar is not castrated. That means he has testicles. So we are using this male animal for breeding purposes. So the burrow means male pig who is castrated. Boar is male pig who is not castrated, and burrow means male pig who is castrated. Gilt means a female pig which doesn't have any pregnancies before. That means in Sinhala we say Nambiyo. Likewise. Cow means who the female swine who have produced one or more litter. That means she's already have some had some pregnancies. Gilt කලින් එයා කලින් පැටව දාලා නැහැ. සව් කියන කෙනා කලින් පැටව දාපු කෙනෙක්. කියන්නේ යා ටිකක් වයසකින්. Farrowing means giving birth to the piglets. That means piglets means the baby pigs. So farrowing means giving birth, parturition, simply. Litter means group of piglings. As you know, swine is prolific animal. Prolific means එක වතාවකට එක පැටියකට වඩා දාන කට්ටියට අපි කියනවා prolific animals කියලා. එතකොට normally pigs gives birth from 8 to 12 piglings. Piglings ලා 8ත් 12ත් අතර ප්‍රමාණයක් දානවා එකපාර. So litter means ඔන්න එකපාර දාන පැටව් ටිකට අපි කියනවා litter එක කියලා. That means group of piglings from one complete farrowing. එකපාර farrowing එකේ පැටව් group එකට අපි කියනවා litter එක කියලා. So pigling means bed pigs. We call them as piglet also. Suckling means unweaned pigs. That means they are having milk. They are drinking milk from their mother. Weaner pigs means we stop milking. That means they don't suck milk from their mother. They fully depend on the external feed. So the fattener means pigs who are reared for pork purposes, either sex. That means ගෑනු හෝ පිරිමි ඌරෙක් අපි එයාව pork සඳහා තමයි හදන්නේ. Not for breeding purposes. So the dry sow means a pregnant sow. That means we don't provide milk for their piglets because she is pregnant. So the runt means under pigs. That means the piglings who are below to the ideal birth weight. They are called runt. Very little size piglings. So creep pen means a small enclosure place where the piglings are kept after farrowing. අර ඔයගලන්ට මතකද දන්නේ නැහැ මම බෲඩින් ගැන කතා කරා බෲඩර් එකක් ගැන කතා කරා so අන්න ඒ වගේ බෲඩර් එකක් තමයි ඒ ටිකක් ඒ වගේ creep pen එක කියන්නේ we provide external source to make the creep pen warm because after just start farrowing they are very little animals they can't bear the cold. So the lard means fat coming from the pork. Ham means salted pork of hind leg. That means we are producing ham from this area. And it is salted ham. So the bacon means salted meat from the pig's belly. This area. So those are the common terms you have to have an idea. Because they are very much essential in understanding management practices. So let's move to the breeds, available breeds. That means Satu Varga. So first one is landrace. This is the landrace. And he's originated in Denmark. So his body color is whitish pink color. And he has drooping ears, පල්ලෙහාට එල්ලෙන කන් තියෙනවා. And long body. So this is Duroc. Very much common in Sri Lanka and ideally adapted to the Sri Lankan climate as well. So originated in USA and he has golden brown coating. That means golden brown color body he has. And he also has drooping ears. So this is large white. Like in the landrace, the body color is very much same. The only difference is large white has erected ears, not drooping ears, right? So he has drooping ears like this. පල්ලෙහාට එල්ලිලා මෙයාගේ කම් පල්ලෙහාට එල්ලිලා නැත. Erect. So this is large black. His entire body is in jet black. He is originated in England. Ears are very drooping ears. So this is Berkshire, as you can see. He has erected ears and there are 6 white markings on their body, entire black body. මුළු ඇඟ මෙයාගලයි කළු පාටයි. සුදු පාට markings 6ක් තියෙනවා. So in the snout 1 and in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One is there in the snout. Here's the snout. And 4 markings are there in the legs and 1 is there in the tail. So he has erected ears. So this is Hampshire. This Hampshire, he has long body and entire black body. He has white belt, including 4 legs. White color belt is there around the body, including 4 legs. ඉස්සරහ කකුල් දෙකත් ඇතුළුව ඇඟ වටේටම white color band එකක් තියෙනවා. He is originated in England also. So this is Chester White. White color drooping ears are there. They are the most prominent body characteristics, and he is originated in USA. So we can see early sexual maturity in this breed as well as mothering care. That means she is going to care her babies very well. And the last breed is Poland China. Even though he is Poland China, he is originated in USA. He has also 6 markings like in the Berkshire. මේ වගේම 6 markings තියෙනවා එයාගේ ඇඟේ. Tell me one difference from Berkshire and Poland China. How you differentiate Berkshire and Poland China? By looking at the external body parameters. කවුරු හරි එක්කෙනෙක් මට කියන්න කොහොමද මේ දෙන්නව වෙන් කරන්නේ කියලා.
Ears.
Yes, very good. From the ears, the Berkshire has erected ears and the Poland China has drooping ears. Very good. That is the only character which is different from each other. So those are the available breeds. And you know now what are the importance of swine farming and the scientific name and the common terms and the breeds available. Right? So let's move to the housing management. If we are going to rear them, we have to provide them a house. So those are the advantages of the providing house. As you know, there's no pigs can rear without housing as well. ඔයගොල්ලෝ දැකලා ඇතිනේ ඌරු හදනවා එහෙම housing එකක් එහෙම දෙන්න ඕනි කියලා එහෙම එකක් නැහැ. හැබැයි housing එකක් අපි දුන්නොත් we can have some advantages. Now we are going to learn about that. So first one is maximum energy utilization for the weight gain. That means if we are going to rear them outside, for the environmental stresses, they are wasting their energy. To overcome environmental stresses, they are wasting their energy. So their weight gain will be reduced. Weight gain will be drastically reduced. We can provide housing system for them, then that energy can be saved and can be converted to weight, enhance the body weight. The second one is reduce the mortality of the piglets. By providing creep pen, we can save our piglets from external coldness. At the same time, by providing sanitized housing system, we can protect our piglets. From the pathogens who are causing disease. And less disease susceptibility because we are keeping clean. The housing systems we are keeping clean and dry. So no pathogens, so no diseases. We can maintain the hygiene and we can manage the health of the animals. At the same time, management practices are very much easy. Management practices are very much easy because especially feeding and health management, because once we provide house, there are separate feeders and waterers. So feeding is easy. At the same time, we can frequently examine our animals very easily. So the health management practices are also easy. Also, by providing housing, manure collection is easy. By providing an ideal drainage system, we can easily collect manure and we can produce biogas. By producing biogas, we can generate excess income for the farm. Since the drainage system is there in a well-structured housing system, less environmental pollution will be happen. Because අපි housing එකක් දෙන්නේ නැතුව ඔහේ උඩ හැදුවොත් එහෙම ඒගොල්ලෝ ජරා කරනවා, අතර ගඳ එනවා එහෙම. අපි housing system එකක් දුන්නොත් we can maintain the cleanliness. අපි housing system එකක් දෙනකොට අනිවාර්යෙන්ම හොඳ කාණු පද්ධතියකුත් හදනවා. එතකොට අපිට ඩං මැටීරියල්ස් වෙනම අරන් ගිහලා බයෝගෑස් එකක් හදනවා නම් එහෙමයි, නැත්නම් වෙනම දානවා නම් එහෙමයි, මොනවා හරි කරන්න පුළුවන්. හැමතැනම ඩං මැටීරියල්ස් වැටෙන්නේ නැහැ. So it's easy. So those are the advantages of providing housing system. So now we will discuss what are the essential elements for a swine house. Okay, so the first one is there should be separate housing system or separate house for breeding animals. For the breeding boar and for the breeding sow. Who are breeding animals? The animals who are rearing to obtain piglets are called breeding animals. That means we don't produce pork from them. අපි ඒගොල්ලන්ව මරලා පෝක් ගන්නෙ නෑ. ෆාම් එකට ඌරු පැටව ගන්න තමයි ඒගොල්ලන්ව තියාගෙන ඉන්නේ. ඒ ගන්න ඌරු පැටව තමයි අපි කවලා ලොකු කරලා පැටර්නල්ස්ලා විදිහට ලොකු කරලා පෝක් හදන්න ගන්න. ස්ලෝටර් කරලා පෝක් හදන්න ගන්නේ ඊට පස්සේ. පැහැදිලි නේද? So the pen they are for the gills and for the dry cows. And separate pens should be there for farrowing, and heating and cooling arrangement should be there, especially for the creep pen. And creep pen or nest box should be provided for the piglings. At the same time, feeders and waterers, especially for the feeders, these animals are very nasty fellows. That means ඒගොල්ලන් හැම එකම කඩලා බිඳලා දානවා. අපි ප්ලාස්ටික් වගේ feeders දුන්නොත් ඕකත් කඩලා විනාශ කරලා දානවා. So normally in swine houses, feeders are fixed and made by cement. සිමෙන්තියෙන්ම fix කරලා හදපු feeders තමයි තියෙන්නේ. මොකද මේගොල්ලෝ කඩනවා. අහුවෙන හැම එකම කනවා. That's why. And there are nipple drinkers. ඔයාලා දැක්කා nipple drinkers කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියලා poultry වලදී. So those nipple drinkers are used in swine house. And suitable floor space should be there. We should provide adequate floor space without giving stress and without reducing ventilation for the animals. So there are two types of housing system: outdoor housing system and indoor housing system. This is outdoor housing system. This is indoor housing system. So let's discuss about these two. As you can see, the outdoor housing system, it is extensive housing system, we don't provide much investment of building structures. But the land requirement is very high. We are providing only a surrounding fence. ඒ කියන්නේ එක වැටක් ගහලා ඒකේ මැද්දේ ඌරු හදනවා. ඌරු කොටුව කියලා කියන්නේ. අන්න ඒක තමයි මේ outdoor housing system එක කියන්නේ. So in here, boundary fence is required. Only boundary fence we are providing. And very simple structure we can build in very low cost. At the same time, better animal welfare because we are allowing the animals' natural behavior. Less labor requirement also. Not to feed, not to give water, and they are feeding what they want, and they do what they want. So very low labor requirement is there in this housing system. But also, animal performance are very low. Because we don't manage feeding, watering, health management, all these factors we don't manage here. So the net return is also very low. So in this type of housing system, it is used by intensive and semi-intensive farming systems. High investment is there. So the capital cost is very much high to build these type of structures. And management is very much easy. So automation is possible. That means we can provide automatic drinkers and automatic feeders. Also, feeders, waterers should be provided in this type of housing system, and high productivity is there. That means we can produce more pork because those animals are in a strict movement. Movements are strict of those animals. So maximum energy conversion is there to body weight gain. So those are the available housing structures. Now let's discuss about the housing construction. First, you have to know what are the factors we have to consider when we select a land, select a site to build our farm. The particular land should be away from the residential area. You know the bad odor generated from the swine farming. It is unbearable. So crowded areas we should avoid. At the same time, the Muslim community, in their religion, I think it is haram product. So they don't like to consume and they are not allowed to consume pork. So we have to avoid such area. We have to respect their cultural or the religious things. At the same time, the location, it should be thermoneutral zone. Thermoneutral means not too cold and not too hot. In cold environment, huddling and shivering will be there. They eat more but don't give enough weight gain. In hot environment, so they are in a stress, in a heat stress. They will pant, that means high husmagani, and they will eat less. So we have to avoid such type of extremes and we have to go for thermoneutral zone. And away from flooding area, because in the rainy season, if there is a flood, we can't do animal farming. So to avoid flood, there should be well-drained soil. And infrastructure availability, quality water should be there. and electricity facilities to do some management practices, to operate some machines and to provide light. Electricity should be there, and road access to bring animals to the farm as well as to take animals from the farm. And land availability for future expansion. It is definitely there should be enough land, enough space, because we are increasing the number of our animal. මං කිව්වා breeding වලට අපි සතු තියාගෙන ඉන්නවා ඒකෙන් අපි පැටව ගන්නවා. අපි පැටව ගොඩක් ගන්නවා. එතකොට අපිට පැටව තියාගන්න තැනක් ඕනේ. So future expansion should be possible. And we have to check the market demand. අපි ඌරු කොටුවක් හැදුවට වැඩක් නැහැ. ඌරු මස් කන crowd එකක් නැතු. For an example, for the Muslim community, they are not allowed to consume pork. So what is the point of establishing farm near to Muslim community? You can't sell your product. So you have to build your farm where the market demand is high. And the manual disposal. This is unbearable odor. By doing swine farm, it generates unbearable odor, bad smell. So you can't face for you should face for these type of challenges, and proper manual disposal should be there. For an example, you have to build a biogas field. So those are the things you have to have an idea when you are selecting a site to build your swine house. After selecting site, let's move to the design of the swine house. First, the building orientation. To get the direct sunlight, it is a must to orient your swine house in north to south axis. Then the sunlight will be directly come to the swine house, inside the swine house. So destruction of the pathogenic microorganisms can be observed. කියන්නේ අපිට පුළුවන් මේ ඇතුලේ ඉන්න විෂ බීජ අයින් කරන්න, විෂ බීජ විනාශ කරන්න. ඊර එළිය කෙලින්ම මේකට අරගෙන මොකද we can maintain the dryness of the house, that's all. The places where moisture content is high, definitely pathogenic bacteria can grow well. So to avoid that, to obtain direct sunlight is essential. And the ventilation and the insulation. Ventilation means the removal of the carbon dioxide and taking the oxygen inside. So fresh air is so the fresh air is needed into the swine unit to remove the vapor, water vapor, carbon dioxide and ammonia. Ammonia is generated from the fecal matters of the animals. So the fresh air coming into the system is must. So we can build half walls to enhance the oxygen coming to the inside the system. We can go for a half wall. So roof of the housing, you know what are the available roof types: single, semi-monitor, monitor. You learn them in the broiler housing. So we can decide what type of roof should be there. What type of roof should be there compatible to the climatic condition of the area, and build single or double or monitor or semi-monitor type roof. මතකයි නේද semi-monitor type roof? We discuss those things in the poultry management. Both monitor and the semi-monitor type roofs are ideal to maintain the inside temperature. For the hot climates, it is recommended to use monitor and semi-monitor type roofs. And roofing materials, of course, we can use asbestos, cajones, metal sheets.
Yes. Hello.
Yes. Is there any problem or do you need any clarification? So those things we can use to build the roof. So let's move to the flooring and bedding material. So these are the recommended floor space. That means the space you should provide for each animal. For the bow, in covered area, that means in a covered housing system, you have to provide 6 to 7 square meters. 6 to 7 square meters. In open paddock, that means in an open house, you have to provide 8.8 to 12 square meters for bow. Likewise, there are a specific space requirement for each and every animal in different systems. You can have a look once I send these slides. At the same time, the floor should not be too rough and too smooth. If it is too smooth, definitely animals will be fallen down after they sleep. ඒගොල්ලෝ ලිස්සන්න පුළුවන්. If it is too rough, pigs may suffer from cuts and abrasion. හීරිලා තුවාල වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Okay. And we have to avoid cracked and deeply pitted floor. That means කැඩිච්ච බිඳිච්ච floors අපි තියන්න හොඳ නැහැ. Because it is very hard to clean. Dumb materials can be retained there. So we have to avoid cracking and the deeply pitted floors. If there are some pits are there, we have to close them. At the same time, there should be a slope. When we build floor, there should be a slope. That means පොඩි ආනතියක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ to provide drainage. හොඳට වතුර බැහැලා යන්න පොඩි ආනතියක් එක්ක තමයි මේ floor එක හදන්න ඕනේ. At the same time, there are two types of floor. One is slatted floor and other one is solid floor. Solid floor means අපි මේ නිකන් තියෙන බිමක් වගේ. And this is the slatted floor. And there are the slatted floor, there are two types of slatted floor. Fully slatted floor and partial slatted floor. In fully slatted floor, all the fully floor is made by the slatter. And here it is only half is slatted. The other one is solid floor. It is very much important when you prepare slatted floor because it is very much helpful. Proper drainage is there. Dryness is there. Since water is not retaining here, surface dryness we can ensure. At the same time, proper drainage we can ensure. But the space between two slatter should be low. මොකද මේගොල්ලන්ගේ කකුල් ලස්සට යන්න පුළුවන් අපි මේක අතර දුර වැඩි කරු. So for the solid floor, sometimes you have to provide bedding, especially for the young pigs and for the piglings, you have to provide beddings. For the young pigs, you can use cloth or something. For the older pigs, you can use rice straw, soda straw, something you can use. At the same time, bedding material should, if you use bedding materials, it should be changed regularly. At the same time, you should be care enough not to use plants which are poisonous. Some plants are poisonous and you should avoid using such things. And now we will discuss about the wall construction. So it should be dependent on the climate. If the environmental temperature is too high, wall height should be low. If the environmental temperature is too cool, wall height should be increased. And we can build the walls from cement or clay or something. Wood is also possible. By using cement, it is more durable. So after you building this housing system, there should be special partitioning. This is not done at the poultry farming, but of course for the swine, this type of partition should be there. Can you see? Because we are rearing with functional groups of animals. Who are those functional groups? As you can see, gills are there, breeding animals are there, boy is there, pregnant animals are there, lactating animals are there. So those are functional groups. The management practices of each and every group is different. So we should rear them separately. That is why partitioning is essential. So those are the available pens we should build. A separate pen for pregnant and non-pregnant animals. And separate place for farrowing. And separate place for weaner or growers. Likewise, like here. And bow pen, this is bow pen. Separate place for bows. And sick pen, there should be a place to keep sick animals. And feed stores, here are the feed stores and the office. So those are the partitions you should make at the swine house. It is essential for partitioning because animals are in different functional groups, functional stages in their life cycle. Different stages are there. In each and every stage, management practices are different. They are unique for each stage. An example, අපි pregnant animal කෙනෙක් manage කරන විදිහට නෙමෙයි non-pregnant animal කෙනෙක් manage කරන්නේ. Spacing වෙනස්, feeding වෙනස්. ඒවා වෙනස්. ඒ හින්දා තමයි ඒගොල්ලන්ව වෙනම දාලා තියෙන්නේ. So these are the things you should know regarding housing system. So if you need any clarification, please ask. ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවද? කියපු දේවල් තේරුණාද? Can you hear me, please? Okay. Okay. So the next topic is the management of functional groups. So this is somewhat lengthy topic. So better you refresh and come. I'm giving 10 minutes break.
Yes, madam.
Okay, so I told you in previous session, there are some functional groups of animals. So, they have separate management practices. We do feeding in different way for each and every group. And there are some set of special management practices for each and every group. So we have to write them separately. So now we are going to discuss about those functional management of those functional groups. That means for each and every group, what we are going to do, how we manage them, how we rear them. So those are the things we are going to discuss. So this is the content, or this is the functional group. You have to have an idea. First one is breeding stock, and under breeding stock, you should learn about bow management and sow management. Under sow management, how you detect the heat, how you do mating for those animals. So at the same time, so those are the things you have to discuss about under breeding stock management. After that, you have to have an idea about piglet management and growers and fatterners management. So those are the things you should discuss under the management of functional groups. So first one is breeding stock management. First we will discuss about who are breeding stock. As I mentioned you before, breeding stock is the animals we are rearing to obtain piglets. Not to obtain pork. We don't kill, we don't slaughter breeders and produce pork. But of course, we arrange breeding in between bows and sows and obtain piglets. So those bows and sows are called breeding stock. So when we do selecting breeding stock, the new animals to produce when you do selecting new animals for the breeding stocks, these are the major characteristics you should check. These are the major characteristics you should check. So when you do selecting breeding bow, the bow should be healthy, no any transmission communicable disease. That means no any contagious disease. Then the pedigree. Pedigree means pelapata in Sinhala. That means how the animal's mother is performed, how the father is performed, and the litter size of the mother, and whether the family members have some disease condition. Likewise, we should check the pedigree. Then we can obtain we can have an idea about the performance of the particular bow. At the same time, the age, the selected bow should be sexual mature enough. Normally, sexual maturation is there at the 6 to 7 months of their age. So you should select such type of animal. And then the physical soundness, like this. There should be huge testicles. These are the testicles to produce more semen. I told you these animals we are keeping to obtain piglets, and to obtain piglets, breeding should be there. The boar and sow should breed, and boar should produce high amount of semen consisted with viable sperms. To produce a high amount of semen, testicles should be large enough. At the same time, the strong hind leg should be there. When he is doing mating, he is standing up on the body of the sow, and whole weight is there for the hind legs. So hind leg should be strong. මුළු ඇඟේම weight එක වැටෙන්නේ මේටිං වෙලාවෙදි මෙන්න මේ පිටිපස්සේ කකුල් දෙකට. මේ දෙක ශක්තිමත් උනේ නැත්නම් එයාට weight එක දරා ගන්න බැරුව එයා මේටිං වලින් අයින් වෙනවා. එතකොට we can't produce piglings. So those are the characteristics of physical soundness. And when we selecting a breeding sow, we should check for prolificacy. I told you these are prolific animals. That means at a time they are producing more than one pigling. Normally 8 to 12 piglings they are producing. So good prolificacy means she can produce more piglings per litter. So then we can enhance the number of animals in our farm. At the same time, she should have a mothering ability. She should care or she should pay her attention her babies. සමහර කට්ටිය ඉන්නවා ගොල්ලන් පැටවුව කනවා damage කරනවා. So such type of activities should not done. And healthy enough. Healthy means no any diseases, no any abnormalities. Some diseases are there which can be transmitted to genetically. So such type of diseases should not be there when we do selecting of animals for breeding. And the physical soundness. The animal should be strong to bear up the weight, body weight of the male animal. Because male animal is mounting for breeding, then the particular sow should have strength to bear that weight. So those are the characteristics you should check to when you selecting animals for the breeding stock. So now we will discuss about breeding stock management. Under breeding stock management, you have to discuss about boar management, sow management, pregnant sow management, farrowing management, and lactating and weaning. So first we will discuss about management. So we should keep the boar in fit but not fat. Because once the boar is getting fat, he can't breed. He can't bear up his weight by his hind leg, and he is getting tired when he is doing breeding. So he will not breed. At the same time, he will be infertile because of the excessive fat deposition. So we should normally giving gestation sow diet where the protein and energy content is low for the breeding boars. We should avoid the obesity of the boar. That's why. Once we purchase the animal, we have to isolate them for 3 to 6 weeks to check whether there are some disease condition. At the same time, after isolating, we should keep them 3 to 4 weeks to settle in the farm surrounding. So normally, they can be used for breeding. We can use them, we can take them for regular usage. Normally 2 to 4 times per week. That means we can use them for 2 to 4 times breeding per week in first year of their age. After first year, we can use them for 6 to 10 services per week. That means we can increase the number of usage. Right? So that is how the bow should be used for breeding. Now we will discuss about the management of sow. Give me another 5 minutes. Venus until 3 to 4 months. After that, they are separated. That means in the group house with both male and female, we can keep them. After 3 to 4 months of their age, we can separate them. So most of the gills attain puberty at 6 to 8 months of their age. But we should not use for them for breeding purpose until they reach their body weight in between 110 to 120 kilograms. Even though they are sexually matured enough, we should wait until those gills reach their body weight in between 110 to 120. Because early mating can seriously affect for the growth rate and the health of the animal. right? So normally this weight is coming in between 7 to 8 months of their age. So these are the factors that affecting for the early attainment of the puberty. Definitely age. Very little fellows, we can't have sexual maturity. At the same time, live weight. When the live weight is increasing, the sexual maturity will be happen early. At the same time, nutrition. When the protein level is increased, early attainment of puberty can be seen in swine, even in the human also. පොඩි ගැල්ලමයින්ට චිකන් ඒවා මේවා දුන්නයින් පස්සේ ඉක්මනට ලොකු ළමෙක් වෙනවා කියන්නේ ඔන්න ඔය හේතු හින්දා. When the protein content is high, early attainment of puberty is there. And the genetics, if her mother is delayed for the puberty, definitely there will be a chance for her daughter for getting delay for her puberty. අම්මා පොඩ්ඩක් පරක්කු වෙලා puberty එකට ගියා නම් දුවත් පරක්කු වෙලා යෑමේ සම්භාවිතාවක් තියෙනවා. And the environmental influences, especially the environmental stresses, decrease, that means delays the puberty, stress factors. And the last one is male effect. That means once the female animal see the male animal and breathe the odor of the male animal has pheromone to stimulate the female animal. So the particular female animal may attain puberty early. එයාගේ සද්දේ, එයාගේ පෙනීම, කියන්නේ යාව දැක්කහම එයාගේ සද්දේ, එයාගෙන් එන ඔඩා එකයි නිසා ගැහැණු සතාව ඉක්මනට sexual mature වෙනවා. Clear? So those are the factors you have to consider about when the animal is reaching for the puberty. So these are the things regarding puberty, and now we will discuss about the management, feeding management of the sow. So as I told you, these are breeding animals. We don't make them fat. So restricted diet should be provided to avoid obesity or the overfattening. Once the animal become overfat, they will produce high number of immature eggs and hormone imbalance will be there. Once they produce high number of immature eggs, it will badly affect for the litter size of the animal. Ultimately, the number of the animals in the farm will be reduced. Then farm will be lost. If we don't provide enough food, too lean body will be there, too thin body will be there. Then they will produce less number of eggs. At the same time, they don't like to breed because they can't bear the weight of the male animal. So overfattening and too lean body is not good for the breeding purpose. So we have to provide balanced diet. So this is the balanced diet we have to provide. So 30% of protein should be there, 3,200 amount of calories should be there as digestible energy. Normally, one animal should get 1.8 to 2.3 kilograms of ration, including this amount of protein and energy. So this is the ration we are providing for these animals. And there is a special management practice called flushing. Flushing means we can increase the amount of feed by 30% before 7 to 10 days of breeding. It will increase the number of eggs ovulated. It is called flushing. Before 7 to 10 days of breeding, තව සතියකින් breed කරනවා නම් අද වගේ දවසක මේ කියන්නේ we can enhance the feed amount by 30% to enhance the number of eggs ovulated. That means to enhance the prolificacy. So these are the things regarding feeding management. Now we will discuss about housing management. So normally for these animals we use group pens commonly because same management practices are there. And to avoid the male effect, නැත්නම් මේගොල්ලෝ චූටි වයසකදී sexual mature වුණොත් එහෙම මේගොල්ලන්ගේ ඇඟ හැදිලා නැතුව මේගොල්ලන්ට වැඩි කාලයක් perform කරන්න බෑ. So we have to avoid the male effect. For that, this pen should be located away from the bow pen. These animals we are keeping to obtain piglings. To obtain piglings, the animal should come to the heat. Once animal is come to the heat, we should arrange breeding. So heat detection is very much important. Now we are going to discuss about that heat detection. Normally, the length of the estrus cycle is 21 days and it can be ranged from 18 to 24 days. Length of the estrus cycle means the period in between two ovulation is called as estrus cycle. So normally for the swine it is like 21 days. So at the heat period it is last in between 12 to 36 hours. In this period, only animal accept the male animal. So accurate heat detection is needed. Once the heat is missed, we have to wait another 21 days to arrange breeding in next heat. So that's why accurate heat detection is essential to ensure correct timing of mating and to minimize non-productive age. Non-productive age means the the time period in which animal doesn't provide any pigling. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි මේ සතු තියාගෙන පැටව ගන්නනේ. අපි heat miss කර කර ගියොත් එහෙම අපි ආව නිකන් තියාගන්නවා pregnant කරන්නේ නැතුව. පැහැදිලිද? ඊට පස්සේ අපිට outcome එකක් එන්නෙත් නැහැ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ. හැබැයි අපෙන් කෑම යනවා, වතුර යනවා, labor cost එක යනවා, but we obtain nothing because we are missing the heat and we are not able to make the animal pregnant. So these are the things we can do for heat detection. There are some methods to detect the heat. The first one is appearance of the heat signs. So these are the heat signs. So enlargement of vulval area and the reddish color vulval area and the vulva is swollen, enlarged. Mucus is discharging from the vulva. And we can see some behavioral changes of the animal. And the animal will be nervous. And she will be mounting to another animals and allow to mounting of herself like this. හැබැයි heat එකේ ඉන්නකොට එයා ඇඟට නගින්න දෙනවා. So those are the heat signs you can be used. Those are the heat signs you can use to detect the heat. And the another thing is the standing test. This is the standing test. We can apply some pressure onto their back by sitting like this or by pressing the back by their hands. So this is called standing test, and this standing test is possible only the animal is in stress or in heat. නැත්නම් ඒ සතා ගහන. So these are the things we can use to detect the heat, and you should pay your attention. That means you have to detect heat at least 2 times per day in order to avoid missing heat period. So after that, we will discuss about mating management. So breeding can be done either AI, that means artificial insemination, like this. In here, we are taking semen away from the male animal. We are taking the semen away from the male animal and deposit artificially in female animal's reproductive tract. It is called AI, artificial insemination. And this is natural breeding. We introduce female and male animal into mating pen. Separate mating pen should be there. Both animals are introduced to the mating pen. That mating pen should be large enough, 3 by 3 meters. And this is the natural breeding. Even though in artificial insemination or in natural breeding, the particular sow should be served twice. First should be done after 12 hours of onset of heat. That means ඔයාලා heat signs ටික දැකලා පැය 12කට පස්සේ තමයි පළවෙනි insemination එක කරන්න ඕනේ. So you can do the second one 24 hours after the first one. Sorry, 24 hours after the heat. Heat එක දැකලා පැය 12නුයි පැය 24නුයි තමයි මේ කරන්න ඕනි AI එක හරි natural breeding එක හරි. Clear for you all? So the mated gills, after doing the breeding, after arranging the breeding, the mated sows or gills should be housed away from other pigs because they are very docile and they are pregnant now. To assure high conception rate, that means high successive rate of the AI or the natural breeding, we have to keep them away. After making the animal pregnant, now we are going to learn about pregnant sow management. What do you mean by word gestation? Gestation කියන වචනේ තේරුම මොකක්ද? Gestation කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? Can somebody speak, please? Yes, gap කාලය. That means how long it will take to obtain piglet after fertilization is taken place. Garbhani කාලයට තමයි කියන්නේ gestation. So the gestation period of the swine is 114 days. In simply it is said 3 months, 3 weeks and 3 days. So during this gestation period, 30 to 40 fetal losses can be happen in between first 25 days. At the initial stage, that means. Due to genetic defects and the unfavorable and uterine environmental condition. So, to avoid this unfavorable uterine environmental condition, good management practices is necessary. So, we'll discuss what are those management practices. First one is housing. So, we have to provide separate house for them. To protect the sow from environmental stressors, especially the cold and the hotness. And to protect the sows from other sows, because this sow is very docile and other sows are not docile, moving here and there and fighting with each other. So, we have to protect them from another sows. And restricted feeding you should follow to avoid the obesity and to avoid the starvation. At the same time, housing is essential to maintain the pregnancy and health and ensure the well-being. So those are the things or the aims of providing housing for those animals. And now we will discuss about what are the available housing. So individual houses or group houses are available for the pregnant animals. And individual housing is easy in controlling feed intake. But of course, group housing, it ensures the animal welfare regulation, because as you can see, this is the pregnant animal group house, not very spacious. They can't do whatever they want. So it's unfair. At the same time, the flow of the housing system should be dry enough, well ventilated, and good protection from heat and cool. So after making her pregnant, we have to assess the stage of pregnancy, whether this animal is really pregnant or not. So those are the heat pregnancy diagnosis methods you can use. No heat after 18 to 14 days, 25 days, because once there is a pregnancy, it is stopped to produce another developed ova up until fetus is coming out. So that opportunity we can use in detecting the pregnancies. The other one is palpation. That means you have to touch the ballotment and you will feel something is there in the uterus. And behavioral changes. The mother will be very much docile. And we can do ultrasound scanning like we are doing in female. And we can assess for the hormones. I told you progesterone, sorry, the high progesterone content in the blood will indicate this animal is pregnant, because progesterone is the pregnancy maintenance hormone. So normally feeding management should be done according to the body condition and the stage of pregnancy. So balanced diet is very much important. Up until now, you know how important balanced diet is. The whole profit of the farm is going to depend on this. So balanced diet is very much important to maximize the number of piglets per year, because we can have so many piglets. And to maximize the number of piglings at weaning, that means runt, we have to avoid runt. We have to avoid runt, and the runt means the piglings which shows low weight, because they will die at the weaning stage. And to maximize sow longevity means, and we should utilize that sow for a longer period. If you don't provide enough diet, or if you don't provide enough nutrition for this animal, she will reduce her body weight. Ultimately, we can't use her hereafter once her body weight goes down. So normally 2/3 of fetus growth is occurred in last month of the gestation period. So the demand of the nutrition requirement is high at this stage. Generally, it is recommended to provide 1.8 to 2.7 kilograms per weight ration, and with 3,340 calories, with 12 to 15% of protein. So after feeding this type of ration, the sow should increase her weight by 10 to 15 kilograms during the pregnancy period. If not, she doesn't have any body reserves to produce milk at the lactation period. So she will reduce the body condition by utilizing the stored nutrition in her body. Then her body condition will goes down, and ultimately we can't use her for breeding in future. Near to the parturition, we have to, that means near to the farrowing date, we have to provide laxative feed for them. How you should make the feed laxative? You can add some rice bran, 25% rice bran into the feed to make the feed as laxative. Laxative කියන්නේ මොනවද? ලිහිසිකාරක කියන්නේ තද නැති කෑම. Because at the pregnancy period, the sow can't strain to remove the feces from her body. මේකෙන් මේ එයාට තටමන්න බෑ feces pass කරනකොට. මොකද because of the fetus. That's why laxative feeding is important. So health management, regarding the health management, vaccination, of course, we don't do at the pregnancy period. Especially before pregnancy, we should finish the vaccination. And we should practice deworming. We practice it in the layer management as well. So deworming drug we can give frequently. At the same time, it is essential to give before 2 weeks of their following expectation. And the pregnant animals, they need exercises. They should walk here and there. So ad libitum space should be there for walking. And the disinfection is must to avoid the disease-causing pathogen entrance to the system. So this is regarding pregnant sow management. If you need any clarification, please ask now. Do you need any clarification? Do you have any problems related to pregnant sow management? Seems like no doubts. So let's discuss about after 114 days. You should manage the farrowing incident. That means they are going to give the birth for their piglings. So at the pregnancy advances, the sows become more docile and the abdomen will be enlarged greatly. And the udder is also getting enlarged. And sometimes some amount of milk is released from the teats. At that time, farrowing or the parturition is taken place. So separate pen should be needed for the farrowing. And animal should be moved for that particular farrowing pen when it is closer for the farrowing date. normally gills should be moved before earlier 10 days, before 10 days of farrowing. Sows should be moved 3 days earlier for the farrowing. And the farrowing pen should be large enough. That means it should have in 60 to 80 square feet space, and litter should be added, especially straws or something. Normally we can put some clothes as well, because in the farrowing piglings are coming out. We should prevent the injuries for those fellows. At the same time, we should maintain the cleanliness of the pen. So, can you tell me what is the reason of moving the animal early for the farrowing day? farrowing date එකට කලින් මේගොල්ලන්ව මේ pen එකට ගිහින් දාන එකේ වැදගත්කම මොකක්ද? Can somebody speak, please? කාට හරි කියන්න පුළුවන්ද ඇයි මේ farrowing date එකට දවස් 10කට ගිල්ස්ලා දවස් 10කට කලිනුත් සවුලා දවස් 3කට කලිනුත් introduce කරන්න කියලා. මොකක්ද හේතුව? So can anybody tell me what is the farrowing pen? කවුරු හරි කතා කරනවද? What is the farrowing pen?
කූඩුවක්ද?
Yes, a separate place to do the farrowing.
They will be familiar in that place, madam.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, they will be familiar with that place once we introduce them early. That is why we should introduce them early before farrowing. Otherwise, they will be stressed. Once they are stressed, it is hard to giving birth for their piglings. That means farrowing is not taken place effectively. So the particular farrowing pen should be dry and warm, and drinkers and feeders should be there. So this is the pregnant animal, and she is very much close to farrowing date, and she is in a farrowing pen. So see how comfort this farrowing pen is with litter material. And it should be there, and adequate ventilation should be there, light should be there. The farrowing pen should be located the place without any disturbances. මොකක්වත් disturbance එකක් තියෙන්න බෑ මේ farrowing pen එක තියෙන තැන. Very calm and quiet environment is need because this is the place where partition is taken place. And the bedding material should be clean and dry. No any fungal contamination, no any moisture should be there. So, after introducing the furrowing pen, we have to examine the signs for the furrowing. By looking at these signs, we know now the furrowing is taken place, and we have to ready. The piglings are coming out. So these are the signs. The animal will be nervous, that is called restlessness, and tail will be twisted. So the milk, of course, will be present in the teeth. Vulval enlargement is there, and discharge from the vulva can be seen. Animal is straining, katamana, and animal will not eat. At the same time, she will do nest making. Nest making means එයා පොඩි කූඩුවක් වගේ එකක් හදනවා අර litter material වලින්. එකතු කරලා එයාගේ පැටවම දානවා. So those are the signs of furrowing. At the furrowing, normally we should introduce this type of furrowing crate. This is the furrowing crate. Once you check, now the furrowing will be happen. So you should introduce this type of furrowing crate. In this furrowing crate, guardrail is there and creep pen is there. Right? So normally, litter size of the piglings will be in between 8 to 15. And birth weight of the pigling should be there 1 to 1.5 kilograms. Normally, the furrowing will be completed within 1 to 2 hours. And it is ended up after releasing the placenta. වැදෑමහ කියලා කියන්නේ අන්න ඒක එළියට දැම්මට පස්සේ තමයි furrowing එක complete වෙන්නේ. So this is the management practices. These are the management practices we should do in the furrowing. I told you furrowing crate should be introduced. This is the crate. And this crate is very much helpful to prevent the entering of the piglings into mother's area. ඒගොල්ලන් අම්මගේ පැත්තට ගියයින් පස්සේ අම්මා නැගිටලා වාඩි වෙනකොට ඒගොල්ලන්ව අම්මට අහු වෙලා මැරෙනවා. It is called crushing. To prevent that, this furrowing crate is essential. At the same time, providing the external temperature is very much helpful. In the creep pen area, you can see there is an external heat source. So providing the external heat source, we can safeguard our piglets. At the same time, by providing this furrowing crate, we can protect our creep feed. Creep feed means after weaning, we should start creep feeding, and that creep feed can be eaten by the mother pig as well. So to prevent that eating creep feed can be achieved by this furrowing crate. So these are the things which I discussed with you now. So now the piglets are arrived. So the breeding management, breeding stock management is over. Now let's move to the management of newborn piglets. So normally newborn piglets need 3 basic requirements. One is a good environment and adequate regular nutrition, and safely safety from the diseases and crushing. Crushing means මම ඉස්සලා ඩිස්කස් කරපු එකට crushing කියන්නේ. එයාලා ඉපදුනායින් පස්සේ අම්මගේ කිරි බොන්න ගිහිල්ලා අම්මට යට වෙලා මැරෙන එකට තමයි අපි කියන්නේ crushing කියන්නේ. So management in newborn piglet. Now we will discuss about how we manage them from birth up to weaning. Weaning means we stop suckling milk from the mother. This is the most critical period because mortality rate is so high. Normally, 2 pigs per litre will be lost due to poor management, crushing, and the bleeding from the navel area, and with the anemia, and with the starvation, badaginna. So those are the most common reasons for mortalities at the early stage. So to prevent those mortalities, good management in the farrowing house is very much essential. And those are the at the same time, the management practices at the parturition is very much essential. So the management practices at the newborn piglet can be listed as follows. One is cleaning and facilitates breathing, direct to the teats for suckling, colostrum feeding, providing iron, tail docking, retasking, identification, and so those things we are going to discuss in detail now. First one is cleaning and facilitates breathing. So after farrowing, the newborn piglets are coming out and their nostrils are filled with mucus. Immediately, we have to clean the nostrils and facilitates breathing. If animal is not breathe, we have to hold him from rear legs and shakes for a while. So, at the same time, since the mucus layer is there on his body, we have to warm the animal by rubbing the body with a clean cloth. To prevent the shivering and to prevent the excessive coldness he feels. After that, the navel cord should be removed, should be cut. You can use disinfected scissors or you can pull and detach manually. Normally, the length of the navel cord is about 12 meters and you can only left 2 centimeters. The rest of the things you should remove. After detaching the navel cord, you can apply Nagasan powder as fly repellent and margosa oil. It is also a fly repellent. At the same time, you should disinfect the area by applying tincture iodine or betadine. After that, after all these practices, you should direct the piglings for the mother's teat to obtain colostrum. So the direction should be essential because the colostrum feeding is essential during the first 3 days. Normally, we are giving only milk up until 10 days of their age. Only first 3 days, colostrum is coming. In the colostrum, it provides immune enhance the immunity of the newborn piglet's body, because their immune system is not developed still. So once this is causing pathogenic bacteria is going inside for their body, they can't resist or they can't fight against the bacteria because their immune system is not producing the antibodies they need. So for that purpose, they should drink colostrum, because colostrum is consisted with very huge content of antibodies. Then there are antibodies, so then they can fight against with disease causing pathogens. Normally, feeding is done artificially. So if any chance, if in any case the mother is died, we can provide milk artificially like this. Super gala kiribotalakin kiripon pulwa. Or we can introduce a foster mother. Kiridena amma kenekku introduce karanna pulwa. While you are introducing this foster mother, you should wipe the mother's body with a cloth. With that same cloth, you should wipe the piglet's body to transfer the mother's smell to the piglet. Because these animals, vision of these animals are very low. ඒගොල්ලන්ට ඇස් වැඩිය පේන්නේ නැහැ. මූ මගේ පැටියෙන් නෙමෙයි කියලා හොයාගන්න ටිකක් අමාරුයි. ඒගොල්ලෝ හොයන්නේ ඉවෙන්. ඔඩර් එකේ. ඒකයි අම්මගේ ඇඟේ අතුල්ලපු රෙදි කෑල්ලෙන්ම ළමයාගේ ඇඟත් අතුල්ලන්නේ. That odor can be transmitted. Otherwise, they will kick. නැත්තම් පයින් ගහලා මේ මරලා දානවා. So the colostrum is a constituent secreted from the udder immediately after farrowing. As I told you, it is consisted with antibodies which helps to fight against the bacteria, viruses like disease-causing pathogens. And this is highly digestible. So if any case mother is died, we have to produce artificial colostrum. So these are the things we should add when we do producing artificial colostrum. So 1 pint of cow milk we can get, and 1 pint of lime, calcium hydroxide, 1 table of glucose to supply energy, 1 table of cod liver oil to supply fat to solubilize vitamins, and 1 tablespoon of castor oil to add some laxative effect, and 1 tablespoon of skim milk to add the total solid of the milk, and 1 tablespoon of sodium citrate to obtain buffering action. Buffering action means maintaining pH in maintaining pH at a specific gap. And we should add suitable antibiotics, amoxicillin or enrofloxacin or something, to fight against with the bacteria. And to obtain more protein, we can add egg white as well. Egg white is consisted with high globulin. So those are the things we should mix each other and produce artificial colostrum if any case mother is dead. After pre-feeding colostrum, they should be fed with ferrous, because their body is not producing enough ferrous. Only 3 grams the body is making, but of course their requirement is 80 grams. So the deficits should be fulfilled by us, and it can be done either injection. It is the most common method following nowadays. Iron can be injected in the jugular vein in between 3 to 7 days after birth. Other than injection, there are some methods we can follow to give the iron. One is sterilized soil. We can put some soil inside the cage or inside the pen of the animal, and they will eat that soil. අර වල්ලුරුත් පස් කන්නේ ඔන්න ඔය හේතු නිසා තමයි. To fulfill the ferrous requirement. And we can make some paste from ferrous sulfate and molasses and give those things, paste to our animals. And we can make some bowls, ferrous sulfate, copper sulfate and molasses bowls we can make, and we can feed them. And iron dextran injection we can give. To the neck area like this. And we can make mixed with feed and drinking water with iron and feed them. So the other management practice we have to practice is detusking. That means in here we are removing the needle teeth of the animal likewise. It is very much important to removing these needle teeth because they are fighting with each other and make wounds. So this is also practice in between 7 to 10 days. So the next one is tail docking. This is tail docker, artificial tail docker. In here we are removing the length of the tail. Because of the same thing, once these fellows are fighting with each other, they will get wounded. මේ නැට දිගට තිබ්බොත් නැටෙන් තමයි අල්ලන්නේ අනිත් සත්තු. එහෙම වුණාම තුවාල වෙනවා. එතකොට අපිට excess burden එකක්. To avoid such type of things, you can do tail docking, and this is the tail docker. In here, current is applied, then the blood vessels and the nerves are sealed. So the next management practices is the castration. This is how castration is taken place. That means simply castration is removal of the testicles. It should be done to the male animals 4 weeks old. Before 4 weeks old, actually. Otherwise, the pain will be not bared by the animal. At the initial stage, the shock is reduced. So it is better to practice the things at the initial stage. So the advantages of the castration are we can avoid unwanted breedings. At the same time, the odor of the bow in the pork we can reduce. අර ඌරු ගඳක් එනවා කියලා කියන්නේ මස් එකේ ඒ ඌරු ගඳ එන්නේ ඔන්න ඔය හේතුව හින්දා. Because they are producing testosterone. Once you do castration, such type of smell is not there. At the same time, there are some disadvantages as well. Excessive bleeding will be there. It takes time to heal as well because this is a surgical castration. කපලා අයින් කරලා testicles අයින් කරලා ඉවරලා බෙහෙත් දාන්නත් ඕනේ. So time is taken for healing. So those are the disadvantages of the castration. So another one is the identification methods. There are 3 types of identification method. Animal identification is must. 2, record keeping, easy in management. Very much important in health management because we are keeping remarks and for security purposes and to make success the breeding program. So those are the importance of identification. Now we will discuss about the available methods of identification. So the first one is tattooing. This is tattooing. In here, it is done by tattooing concept. I'll show you some photos. Can you see the slides? So this is tattooing faucet. This is tattooing faucet. As you can see, there are some nails in the so there are some nails and nail plates are there. Those nails are located according to a pattern. මේක නම් 2G කියන pattern එකකට තියෙන අර plate එක අරගෙන we insert them into tattooing faucet. මේකෙන් අරගෙන tattooing faucet එකට දානවා. And we apply some ink also and we punch. So after punching, this type of result can be obtained. So this is here tattooing. The equipment used for this purpose is called as tattooing faucet. The second one is here notching. So we cut some amount of some small pieces in the swine's ear. කන් දෙකේ මේ වගේ චූටි චූටි කෑලි ටිකක් කපන්න ඕනේ. It should be done according to a pre-designed pattern. You should be care enough not to cut too long cuts. නැත්නම් ear notching කරන්න කියලා කන් කරනවා. එම cut කරන්න බෑ. මෙන්න මේ විදිහට තමයි කපන්න ඕනේ and it should be done according to a pre-designed pattern. And this is also practiced at 2 to 3 days. And the next one is tagging. This is ear tags. We can apply them by using tag applicator. And it is accurate, but of course there are some disadvantages because මේක කණේල්ලන් ඉන්නවා කියලා දැක්කහම අනිත් උර ඇවිල්ලා මෙයාගේ tag එක ගලවගෙන කනවා. So normally tagging is not common in swine management. Notching and the tattooing is safe. So the next one is creep feeding. As I told you before, up until 10 days of their age, we are giving only milk. After that, we should introduce creep feed. It is specially designed for piglets, which is very much easy in digesting. And we are giving creep feed to prepare the piglings for weaning. Normally, creep feed should consist with 20% and metabolic energy should be there and 3,360 kilocalories. So these are the composition. This is the composition of the creep feed. Cooked cereal should be there in 38%. Maize oil should be there in 11%. Milk products should be there in 45% and glucose and sugars to provide energy by 5% and vitamin and minerals. So normally we have to give 500 grams per piglet per day. Creep feed. And these things should be cooked. Right? It is not raw food. These things should be cooked. And it should be kept in warm, dry place because since it is cooked, it can be deteriorate very easily. So those are the things we have to conduct in newborn piglet management. Now we will discuss about weaning management, how we are going to wean our animals. Normally, weaning means we stop feeding milk for the piglets. The normal thing we do is we remove the sow from the farrowing pen and we leave the piglets there for about 1 week to avoid the stress because weaning is a great stress for the animal. අම්මගෙන් කිරි නවත්තනවා කියන එක මේ සතාට මාර ස්ට්‍රෙස් එකක්. එක අම්මා ළඟ නැති වෙනවා. දෙක there is a huge nutritional loss. Right? Because they are trained to obtain or to acquire nutrition from the milk. Now we are going to stop them and we convert them to acquire nutrition from the concentrated ration. Right? So this is somewhat stress. To avoid such type of stresses, then අපි මේකෙන් මෙච්චර ස්ට්‍රෙස් එකක් තියාගෙන මේ පැටව ටිකත් වෙන තැනකට අයින් කරොත් ඒගොල්ලෝ තවත් ස්ට්‍රෙස් වෙනවා. At the same time ඒගොල්ලන්ට familiar place එක නැති වෙන නිසා ඒගොල්ලෝ ස්ට්‍රෙස් වෙලා they can die. So the proper weaning age under good management is 3 weeks of their age. Under poor management, 6 to 8 weeks of their age, we can do weaning. Generally, it is said that 4 to 5 weeks after farrowing is the weaning age. Near to weaning, we have to encourage piglets to eat more creep feed. I told you we are giving creep feed to assist the weaning. And we have to reduce the feeding of mother sow to reduce the amount of milk she produces. And once the milk is less, the piglets feel hungry and they will tend to eat more creep feed rather than obtaining milk from their mother. So this is the process of weaning. At the first day, we have to carry the mother sow from the farrowing pen. Then we have to select the animals for the breeding stock, for the replacement stock, and they are transferred to grower pen. And then we can mix the post-weaning diet with creep feed. That means අපි wean කළාට පස්සේ දෙන diet එකයි creep feed එකයි mix කරලා තමයි මුලින්ම දෙන්නේ. Right? නැත්නම් ඒගොල්ලෝ එකපාරම කන්නේ නැහැ. ඒගොල්ලන්ට ගුරු නැහැනේ. ඒකයි. Then the amount of post-weaning diet, proportion of the post-weaning diet is increased once the proportion of creep feed is decreased. දැන් මුලින්ම එකතු කරලා දෙනවා 50 50 වගේ එකතු කරලා දුන්නා කියන්නකෝ. ඊට පස්සේ post weaning diet එකේ proportion එක වැඩි කරලා creep feed එකේ proportion එක අඩු කරනවා. ඒගොල්ලෝ දන්නේ නැහැ. ඒක නිසා ඒගොල්ලන් කනවා. After that, piglets can be transferred to the growing pen. When they are trained to acquire nutrition fully from the post-weaning diet, they can be transferred into the grower pen to rear as fatteners. Now we discuss about grower or fattener management. So normally we are rearing them as growers up until 5 to 6 months, and they become fatteners after 6 months of their age. So normally fattener will be range in between 60 to 80 kilograms of their weight. And the feed requirement of four weaners are 6% from their body weight. That means the amount we should determine, we should give by 6% of their body weight. Kilo 100ක් ඒගොල්ලෝ ඉන්නවා නම් කිලෝ 6ක් කන්න දෙන්න. And the protein content of this diet is very much high. 20 to 22% protein should be there. Because these are very little fellows, they have to grow well, and the growth rate at the initial stage is very much high. After 5 weeks of their age, they can pigs can utilize a wide variety of feed. So we can go for swill feeding as well. What do you mean by swill? Indul kunu indul එහෙම දෙන්නේ උරන්ට. It is very cheap and it is better for growers, but of course not an energy source, and it is appetizing if we produce them very correctly. At the same time, it should be essential to provide pellets, the feed as pellets, to avoid dusty environment and respiratory distress we should avoid. So those are the things we have to learn under the swine management. If you need any clarification, please ask now. මේක ගැන මොනවාම හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා නම් දැන් අහන්න. මොකුත් ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැද්ද? ඔක්කොම තේරුණාද? Do you need any clarification regarding these topics? තේරුණාද ඔයගලන්ට කියපු දේවල්? මෙතනින් මාතෘකා ටික ඉවරයි කතා කරන්න ඕනි. මම එවන්නම් කෝඩිනේටර්ට. ඊට පස්සේ එයා අප්ලෝඩ් කරයි. I'll send the slides to the coordinator and they will upload. So any problems? Okay, seems like no problems and no need of any clarification. No, so I'm going to wind up the session and thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.